back to another series of Cooking with Chef Guy. A few people have asked me they want to have a go at doing curry, so I'm just going to do a very simple curry today. Okay, I'm going to go through the ingredients and explain a few bits about them. So what I found in my cupboard actually was a Baltic cooking sauce. So I'm going to use that. I must admit I prefer the paste, so if I was to do this again I would get the Baltic paste and use that, but cooking sauce is fine if you want to use that. And I've got some sort of medium curry powder as well, which I'm going to use. I've got onions, and I'm going to show you how to do the onions. You don't need to fine dice them actually, just a nice slice of them is good. Definitely going to put some garlic in there, and I've got some chicken. I'm also going to put in some tomatoes and some fresh tomatoes as well. Okay, and we'll show that as we go along. But let's have a look at the onions. So you don't need to really fine dice these onions. So all you've really got to do is you're going to slice them. So if you can watch me, make your bridge, just cut down maybe twice like that. Make your claw, and then you get like little slices of onion. There's a lot of Indian food has like very finely sliced half moon sort of slices of onion in there, and I'm putting quite a lot of onion in this because I've got 5 pieces of chicken breast there I'm using, so I'm doing this curry for quite a few people, probably about 7 or 8 people, well probably 7 or 8 people. Turning it that way and then just slice that down. So the first thing I need to do is once again get the oil hot. I'm going to use rapeseed oil here again today, so I've got the rapeseed oil, in it goes there. If you're using a paste, you won't need as much oil because it's actually in oil, but this is a sauce to cook off with, but I'm going to have to fry that powder in a moment. So let's get this on, going to get the oil hot, be back in a moment.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I'm going to take you through the cooking sequence now. So there's the onions, and I've shown you just slice them up to like little slices. And then, okay, we're going to cook them off in the oil. The oil should be hot, and I've shown my students the way to check it's hot. Just get a little bit of onion, that's sizzling nicely, so in it goes. It looks a lot, but don't forget onions cook down an awful lot. When I used to do the end of term leavers parties here, we used to do a lot of hot dogs. You'd have a big pan of onions like that, and by the time they cooked them off they were down to the bottom, so they are going to shrink down as they lose their water. In they go. Stir. Move that to the side. I'm going to show you the chicken. I've done some of the chicken for you. These are two very large chicken breasts here. So I think 2 of these would probably do 3 people. And you just want them in largest chunks, not tiny chunks like that. You want them to think about how you get them in restaurants. They're like pieces about this size, aren't they? Yeah. So like that. And I cut them to 3. And then, okay, because it's chicken, I've done that, got chicken on my hands now, so I need to wash my hands. See you in 1 minute.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
So I've got curry powder here, mildish curry powder. I prefer to use curry paste, but I put the paste at exactly the same time as this now, so in it goes. Okay, and I'm just going to cook it with the onions until it sort of goes softish, and you get like a slight oil coming off the top there. So I'm going to cook those for a few more minutes, and I'll see you then.
A few minutes later.
So if I have a look at the onions, they've been cooking about 7 or 8 minutes. They're starting to reduce down, they're starting to soften. Okay, so they still need a lot of cooking. You want the onions just slightly going golden brown, texture like sun. But we're going to put the chicken in now, okay, and we're going to cook that off. We want a bit of colour on that as well. In it goes. Red board away, and keep turning that chicken. I like using woks because, well, it's good for me because things don't go all over the top of the cookers, but you can imagine some of my students, if we were using like big frying pans, there'd be all sorts of curry paste or bits of onions on there. So I like the woks because it's more difficult to spill it everywhere, although I do manage to do that myself at times. So I'm going to cook this a bit longer, and I'll see you in about 6 or 7 minutes.
Many minutes later.
So that's looking good at the moment. It's all sweating down. It's starting to get a little bit of oil on it, with oil shine on it. I like fresh tomatoes in curries as well, and I like them cooked off so they go soft. I think they add a nice flavour to it. We're also going to put some tin in there later on, but I've just got some tomatoes, about four or five tomatoes, don't buy expensive ones. Just chop them up roughly, and we're going to fry them as well, just so that they sort of melt down and go nice and soft. They're a bit, not really that ripe these, I would have preferred riper ones, but there we go. So once again, just going to mix those in, keep turning and let that cook. See you in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes later.
Just making sure Chef's Guy's done it right when he's not here.
So, who's been stirring this then? Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put some garlic in now, okay? So, I'm going to put 3 cloves in. I love garlic, good for the blood. Make me live to 105. So, once again, just put top of hand on the knife, blunt knife on the knife, flat side down, okay, and then you can peel it. I've peeled that garlic. I'm just going to put some in. Actually, rather than chop it, you might be better off using a garlic crusher. Oh, look at that, here's one. There we go. So I'm going to put the garlic in there, crush that in, and I'll fry that for a few more minutes because the garlic won't take as long as those onions. When it goes burnt, it's horrible garlic, it goes very bitter. On the top there, look, peel it again. My guys, you know how to do this. You've been trained up, hopefully. I'll retire in the knowledge now and you can cook. Well, that's the idea anyway. So a bit of garlic in there. I'm going to cook that for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to put the other sauce in and some tomatoes, some tinned tomatoes. We're ready for our sauce now. So I would have used curry paste. I'd have used probably a whole pot in there, but we're going to put the sauce in. So this is already cooked off a little bit. So we're just going to put this in now. And we're not going to waste any, because in a minute what I'm going to do is put a little bit of cold water in there, swirl it around and put that in. I'm going to put some chopped tomatoes in, because this is going to be stewed gently now. So we've got to get some liquid in there, so it doesn't burn. Okay, so I've shaken the water in the pot there. It's going to cook for about 20, 25, 30 minutes, so I want a reasonable amount of water in there, because I'm going to turn it really low and let it bubble away. But you will need to keep stirring it, because it's not in a heavy bottom pan, it will catch on the bottom. And I'm just going to tell you the last thing I'm going to put in. I'm going to show you don't have to do this, okay? I've got some coriander seeds and some cumin seeds there, and I'm going to dry fry them in the pan. Any pan would do, so you basically put them in there, cook them off a little bit and then grind them up. I'm going to show you how to do that later. Literally you have to put that in about 10 minutes before you serve it, and it just adds that lovely bit of flavour to it. So I'm going to put this to cook, see you at the end.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
The curry's been cooking maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, maybe 30, 40 minutes. It's cooked nice and thick. Okay, there's a bit of oil coming off from the spice on top, so that tells me it's done. Okay, couple of things to do to really improve your curries, and it's worth doing it, is to get some fresh coriander. Okay, you can get this from any supermarket, but I tell you what, with a lot of curry stuff, the best places to go is Asian supermarkets. It's so much cheaper. Everything from spices to coriander, go in there and get your stuff from there. So I've chopped this up, you can see how I'm chopping it up. Go and get some, and I'm going to tip that in to the curry and just heat it through in a moment. The other thing you can do, you don't have to do this by all means, is really does improve the flavour of curries, and that's why when you go to a lot of curry houses, it really has a nice background taste, is these are cumin seeds and these are coriander seeds, and literally they're so cheap. You can buy a big bag for about £1.20 from an Indian supermarket of each of these, and I'm going to get Hayden to dry fry them, and then we're going to grind them up using a mortar and a pestle, and we're just going to add that the last 10 minutes, and you get some lovely aromatic oils coming out of those. It makes the curry really good with the coriander in there. So over to you, Hayley, if you'd like to get those going. So dry frying, okay, no oil. We're just going to shake those to heat them through, so the aromatic oils and the spices and the nuts, well not nuts are they, the seeds, is going to start coming through.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, so Hayden's been cooking those a couple of minutes. They just need to be ground up in the mortar, and this is the pestle. So give it a bit of beef, bit of welly fella. Looking great now, Hayden. It's gone to a nice fine powder. If you see that, that's what we want it to go down to. So we're going to add that to our curry, and we're going to add the fresh coriander. You don't have to have anything as beefy as that. Okay, I get a lot of my stuff from second-hand shops. I bought this. Okay, this would be perfect for you. I think it cost me £1.50. Keep your eyes out for them. If you love curries, okay, you want to get into curries, it's probably best to buy one of these as well, because it does make a big difference doing that at the end and adding fresh coriander. Maybe even a squeeze of just lemon juice at the end. So we're going to add that, and then we're going to say goodbye to you. If you want to cook this curry now and you haven't got one of these and you do want to put some of those dry spices in, just fry them in a saucepan, get a plastic bag, okay, put them in that, and then just as good, and then put them in. Okay, so you can do it without the pestle and water, just a little hint. So in with the dry fried spices, coriander and cumin, in it goes. Well done, it's quite heavy that, isn't it? Let's see if it all in, go on. In with the fresh coriander and stir it all around, Chef Hayden. Mix it all up.
Okay, Chef.
And I'll put a squirt of lemon juice in, and that will actually be beautiful. Now rice, one of my mini series, you know how to cook rice. The Chef Guy method, very, very simple. To get that coloured rice, very good for all I've done is put a bit of turmeric in the water, and it's come out that colour. Okay, I know in some restaurants they put food dye in, but I wouldn't do that. Turmeric is good for you. Okay, good for your joints, good for your heart, as Hayden said earlier. Yeah. So, are you happy with that, Hayden?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's time for us to say goodbye. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him.
Namaste. Doing those a couple of minutes, they're looking good. So if you want to turn those off, Hayden. Well done, Chef. And what he's going to do is going to grind those up. Okay. Oh, that's no good, is it? Let's get you another